Recording.
Okay, it's recording.
Hi, I'm Max Swindols, and this is my presentation on my film and content creation roles I've done this first semester. So my first one was set decorator, which I did a bit of research on before I actually did the role. To understand it, I found what they need to be good at, basically. So you need to understand film, the style, like historical knowledge, depending on like the narrative of the film. They need to communicate with a lot of different departments. They need to be organised so that they're ready for the shoot and everything's ready for it. And another one, this wasn't in the research, but you need to know the story, because if you don't know little details about adding to the set, then you're not going to get it right. So the role involves you have to have an eye for storytelling, like I just said. You have to create the background of the shot, so you can add just like little details to it that might enhance. It can enhance the whole film in the end of the day. You build the set itself, so you build the world that scene or those scenes are in. So it's a great responsibility to have. So my experience in the role, I actually really enjoyed it because I've never really done this before. I did small bits in my own little films, but I've never had that as just one role. So just finding out how to dress a set and paint it and all that, it was really, really good. I'd say the project as a whole was also really good because it was nice to just not have to think about the story, even though I would have liked to do it. It was nice not to think about it because I could just put everything into just setting the scene. What went well, I'd say probably just how we all worked together. Really, we all really worked together well, and we all contributed to it. What didn't go as well, I would have liked to have more input in the story of it, but I kind of got outruled on that, so I can't really do anything with that. Examples of how I followed NOS. So I've picked 2 NOS rules that I followed. The first one is confirm worked activities and resources for the work. That involves identifying worked activities and access the required resources. So it's basically, I followed this by attending the idea generation and listening to all of the presentations and stuff the ideas that we're coming up with. And then the other one I followed is confirm to general workplace safety. So follow this piece of NOS, I made sure to keep everything we were using in a safe, secure place. So like there was no tripping or hazards. Future improvements, I probably won't do this role again, even though I did enjoy it, it was new. But if I was to do it again, I would definitely do more in-depth research and just look into like just different designs of sets. My next one is first assistant camera or first AC. Research, I found that there's actually quite a couple different names for this. First assistant camera, first AC, or focus puller. So the main job is to sit next to the camera and pull focus during shot and before the director shouts action. The role involves setting up the camera equipment, also pulling focus, as I've said, telling the rest of the crew on the camera that the camera is set to be called action for. I really enjoyed this role actually. I've done a lot more into camera, but I still haven't done as much. But I didn't even know focus pulling was a thing before I did this role, so it was really, really, really good. And this project as a whole went really well, I think. For our first proper shoot, I think we all pulled together really well. what went well, yeah, we all did really well, I think. What didn't go as well is there's obviously always room for improvement in projects, and it was our first one, which I think we really did work on in the next shoot, which I'll talk about soon. NOS in this shoot, first one I followed was set camera menus for multi-camera operation. I followed this rule of NOS by testing the camera out in our shoot, our practice shoot the day before, to show that I was ready and everything was ready for the shoot the next day. And the second NOS rule I followed was coordinate the crew to the position to a camera. So I followed this NOS rule by communicating to the rest of the camera crew and just making sure everyone was up to date with what I was doing and how we were working. Future improvements. I possibly might do this role again. So what I would say with this is there was some times when I'd maybe forget what lens was on the thing, so it would I'd miscommunicate with the second AC, so I'd definitely make sure I'd improve on that. And for my final role as editor, so basically I did a little bit more research, but I know a lot more about this role. So in editing you need to know your genres because you could be asked to edit anything. The main transitions in editing are cut, dissolve, wipe and fade. The purpose of editing with film and TV is to create the suspension of disbelief. So when I'm editing, I want an audience to be engaged that much that you create a world that they're completely transfixed in, and you forget about anything that's going on. That's what I like about editing, and that's what I found when I attended a workshop at university. What the role involves, so listening to what the director vision is, so you get everything right, what they want. I found it was good to sit with a DIT, so you know what all the clips and sound clips are that are being used, and then edit all the versions of the film and communicate with the director when everything's done, so that they like the final product basically. And that's my plan for the editing week. So my experience in the role was, unlike all the roles that I've said, I've done this a lot more. I did 2 years of college and I did a lot of editing. I really liked editing this project because it was very different than usual, because I'm used to making all the ideas and then filming it and then editing it myself, but I didn't make the idea, I just edited it, which it was really fun to get into the edit instead of like knowing what was going on, because I could just follow what someone else told me. So I had less creative freedom, but it was a fun experience to kind of do that. So what went well? Just the edit as a whole. I had to learn a new software, which wasn't as good, but I got used to it and I pulled through and I got all the edits done, and the director was very happy with it, so I'm really happy how it turned out. My first NOS with this was carry out editing projects to a brief. So I followed this NOS rule by watching the director and DOP and set what the vision was for the look and story of what I could put into the edit. And the second one was grade and adjust colour. To follow this, I communicate with the director and see what they wanted, and the DOP, and use mood boards to create the colour of the film, basically. Future improvements, I'd like to definitely do this again, and improve my editing skills in DaVinci, and possibly Avid in the future if I go on to do this as a proper role, basically. Thank you for listening. It's my presentation. Has anyone got any questions?
Yeah, I got a couple of questions. First one, between all the 3 roles that you had, what is the most like? What is the one that you enjoyed the most? I would say.
I thought it would be editor, but I'd say I actually really enjoyed the camera first AC because it was just it wasn't a completely new thing, but I've never worked on focus pull. As I said, I didn't even know it was a role. So it was really good, and it was really interactive as a job because we're all working in tangent and getting everything done as soon as possible, and we're working really well together. So I really enjoyed it.
Second question. Generally speaking, do you like or prefer to be involved in a role that is kind of complicated and you accept it as a challenge, or you to try and find something more like in comfort zone that will fit you? Like what is your
Well, I think definitely I've gone for roles that are out of my comfort zone this semester, other than editor, because I've got a lot more experience in that. But in general, I've done a lot of roles because I've always done everything for my projects. So I've pretty much done every role in making films. So I've got a little bit of knowledge for everything. So it's not too far out of my comfort zone. Any other questions or?
any question?
Yeah. What was your hardest difficulty whilst using these new editing softwares?
Right, so DaVinci, I thought it was a lot similar to Premiere Pro, but it definitely wasn't. When I loaded it up, I almost shut it down a lot. I shut it down a lot of times because I was really getting annoyed with it. But then after an hour of playing around with it, I got used to it. I think definitely the hardest thing that I don't struggle as much in Premiere Pro with is getting audio to match up with clips. It was a lot harder in DaVinci, so I'd say that was the hardest part about editing it.
Thank you.
Everything? Thank you.